Richard, happy almost New Year.
Happy almost 2 years to you, Megan. How are you doing?
I'm doing great and I am ready to make resolutions, which I love. How do you feel about resolutions?
I don't feel the same way. I I really don't like them because it feels like people sort of spin their wheels with these things. Come this time a year, we always say, I want to lose 10 or 15 pounds. I want to get into the gym. I want to better myself.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is we get to New Year's Day, coming out of all the partying we did, and we're like, okay, I'm gonna hit the gym the next day and really start this progress. And then what happens is it slowly starts to drift away. That initial excitement starts petering away. And then by the end of the month, you go, yeah, I just want to go back to what I was doing. And so I'm like, can we stop spinning our wheels a little bit here?
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
totally. And I think it's interesting whether it's like, this is the year I'm going to lose weight. This is the year I'm going to get a new job. This is the year I'm going to da 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 da.
mhm.
Like
Yep,
we have all this motivation, right? Because it's like this communal energy around it.
absolutely.
And what we've talked about before is like motivation actually isn't that useful, right? Like
Yeah, right.
it's just not. It's so many days you're not going to have any motivation. So, can you talk a little bit about like what's behind the resolution? Like maybe helping people understand that versus this is the time of year I should be doing this.
Sure. Right. It's let's take weight, for example.
Sure.
A lot of people want to lose 10 or 15 or 20 pounds,
Yeah.
right? But what's the real motivation behind that? And so that is the real motivator, the real engine that's driving that need to
Mhm.
do that. And so as coaches, we want to get to the why behind the why. And so I think part of it is just being a little bit more honest with yourself.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. And like if I came to you and said, like, Richard, this is the year that I am going to be a let me think. I'm going to write a book. Like, and I
Okay.
want to be an author. And this time next
Okay.
year, I want to have my book done and ready to like be
Mhm.
edited.
Mhm.
If I came to you and said that, like, can you walk me through a little bit of like some questions we should be asking ourselves?
Sure. Like, in that particular situation, it's the first question I'm gonna ask you is, why do you wanna write a book?
Mhm.
All
Well,
right.
I've had this story in my head for a long time, and I really like writing.
Okay. And what is this story about?
Well, so it's a fiction,
Mhm.
and there is this like glamorous lifestyle group based in South Florida. And there's someone from New York who's young and comes into it and is like seeing all the dynamics and how they play out. So I just wanted to make an entertaining sort of like peek into that lifestyle. And then I also have this other like there's a lot of different relationship dynamics that are happening, and I don't wanna give too much away about the book, but, I think it would be really fun. It's a way for me to kind of encapsulate experiences that I've had and explore this world that I've sort of, like, lived in a fun way.
And okay, and so you have the story that you wanna get out.
Mhm.
Why is having this story out in the world important for you?
Hmm. It's a good question. I think because I enjoy the story, like, and I think other people would enjoy this story. So I guess it's not so much about being published, but I feel like I've lived with these characters for the last couple years. And I feel like now's the time I should, because it's the new year, right? Like I should get them down on paper.
Okay. And getting these stories out on paper,
Mhm.
why is that important for you?
I think they're at a point where, like, they deserve to be developed more. I'm tired of just thinking about it, right? Like, I'm tired of just kind of like, "Oh, yeah, that would be cool to do," and, "Oh, yeah, I bet that's how that character would react in this situation." Like,
Mhm.
it almost feels like I need them to come to life a little bit more versus just be in my head. But I'm not necessarily it's a good question you ask because 'cause I'm not necessarily thinking about the audience. Like,
Mm,
I'm not I think lots of people would like this story, but
Mhm.
there isn't like one type of audience that I'm trying to reach.
Okay. And what type of what are a couple of important audiences that you would like to reach with this book?
Yeah, I think anyone who likes a Bravo TV show, right? Like whoever that group is, like a Real Housewives kind of genre.
Mhm.
And I think remember that book from I think it was the 80s. It was like the preppy guidebook. Do you
Yeah.
remember this?
Yes, I
It was
did.
like
I
that
did.
sort of like insight. So kind of like that world too, like almost a like anyone who wants a peek into like the high society crowd, like outside of the drama, but just like, oh, this is how sort of the other half lives, sort of. So voyeurs, I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
anybody who kind of enjoys that sort of story.
Mhm. And so what I'm doing as I'm asking you
Yeah.
these questions are I'm really trying to get to the core of your motivation for
Yeah.
writing the book.
Yeah.
And that is something that a lot of people haven't expressed or haven't experimented.
Yeah.
And nobody's really asked them these questions. It's like, okay, going deeper and digging deeper and
Yeah.
understanding and getting to the keystone of, oh, okay, now I understand why you want to write your book.
Yeah.
Or now I understand why you want to lose that 15 pounds
Right.
or change your career.
Yeah.
And that's where the real rest, the real fruit of things we can go to so that we can explore it.
Yeah.
And that's really
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think the other question that is a good one is like, well, why now? Right? Like,
Yeah.
why now? Is
Mhm,
the directing factor that it's January 1
mhm,
and we just have this societal idea of like new year, it's a timeline.
mhm,
We talked about in the last our last conversation. I actually think winter is a great time for people to do
mhm,
nothing. And like in the
mhm,
spring is typically when I start my own personal like I don't want to say reset, but like evaluation of where I am and what I want to
mhm.
do.
Sure.
So like why now?
Yeah, it's like, why is January 1st that important to you?
Mhm.
Is it because, like you said, is it a societal communal thing? Or is this something that you've been thinking about all year? Have you been
Right.
thinking about this on like June 17th
Yeah.
and now that January 1st has come around, it's like, okay, now I have to
No, I
yeah,
have to do it. Yeah.
I have to do it
And
now.
let's take this example of if you're thinking about it on June 17th, why didn't you start June 17th? Right?
Bingo.
So I
Yeah.
think that's a question we have to ask ourselves. And I think resolutions also can serve as direction. I think so many times we like, you said, like, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to go on January 2nd. Da, 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 da. And like, hold up. Like, that could be fine, but maybe you need to take a little bit of time to ask these questions, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm. Take a step back and really examine what am I really doing? And also, am I in this for the long haul?
mhm.
Right? Now, let me ask you a question. Have you heard of Quitter's Day?
No, tell me.
So, Quitter's Day is, again, tied to resolutions. And especially when it comes to losing weight or going to the gym,
Yeah.
where we get that enthusiasm to go lose the weight, start lifting weights, what have you. But then that enthusiasm starts to wane. And usually it's the middle of January to the end of January where we go back to our norm.
Yeah.
We lose that enthusiasm.
Mhm.
And as I said, it's like usually January 17th, somewhere around there. And
Yeah.
it's like, and I think part of that is because it starts getting real at a certain point.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say you want to lose 15 pounds. It's another thing to actually change your diet, change your habits, change your mindset around your body.
Yeah.
And that work takes more than 17 days to get done, right?
Yeah.
And we're a microwave society. Okay. We want everything 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And we don't see results immediately, we quit.
Yeah.
And rather than understanding that it takes time to build good habits and better habits,
Mhm.
and you have to be kind to yourself to be able to say to yourself, okay, this is going to take more than 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I got to be in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
So,
And then the other part of this, and we've talked about this before, and this is where I think value work comes into it, is like bring your whole self to this conversation,
absolutely.
right? So,
Yes.
like, can you maybe talk about that a little bit more? Because I think you gave a great example. And I know we keep talking about losing weight, which is not either of our specialty. I think people should gain more weight, but like
Yeah.
eat the cheese, like it's fine.
Hmm.
But it's a great example because I think we've all been there, and one of the examples you gave, I think almost all of us can relate to of like, I wanna do it for a spouse, I wanna do it for my parents, I wanna look good in pictures,
Hmm.
and, like, when you're bringing your whole self to that conversation, that's not external, it's all internal.
It's all internal. And having the ability to hold space for those difficult conversations, again, get to the why behind the why. Having those like really crucial conversations. There's a book out, it's been out, I think it's on its third edition, called Crucial Conversations. It's really original intention of the book was really having difficult conversations in an office space.
Mhm.
But the thing is, lay people started reading this book and started having those crucial conversations with their spouses or parents that they hadn't talked to in a long time,
Yeah,
and really coming to an understanding with each other about how we feel about each other.
yeah,
And sometimes these resolutions that people are going to be coming up with are really masking those difficult conversations about, like you just said, conversations with yourself. It's like,
yeah,
who am I in my body?
right.
Who am I in my work?
Mhm.
Who am I in my family life?
Yeah,
And it's really important to hold space for those conversations and to have them, and to not try to fix things right away,
yeah.
but just put the cards out on the table.
Well, and you just said a word that I wanna focus on, and it's
So,
fix, because
yeah,
no one here is broken. No one
exactly.
listening to this is broken,
Exactly.
and understanding that external pressure and validation that we have, like you
Yeah.
said, maybe take those first 17 days, and
Mhm.
the resolution is, "Let me explore this a little bit more," right?
Exactly. Exactly. It's like it's rather than and people like 24-hour fitness are gonna hate me for saying this, but rather than buy a gym membership, buy a journal,
Yeah.
buy a nice pen, and spend that 2 weeks writing
Yeah.
all your thoughts. And you don't have to share it with anybody if you
Right.
don't want to. Just write. Don't try to write the great American novel,
Yeah.
okay? But just write out your thoughts,
Yeah.
your feelings, and not have to worry about what anybody else is thinking about. What is the story that you're telling yourself about yourself?
Yeah.
That's, I think, a crucial question to ask.
Yeah.
And are you sure that story is true?
Is
Right?
that story true? Yep.
Mhm,
Yep.
mhm, because we tell ourselves stories all the time,
Yeah.
and the reality is probably a lot more boring than the stories that we tell ourselves,
Yeah.
all right? And so I think that's a really good step. Rather
Yeah.
than spending the winter trying to get that beach vibe, spend the season reflecting
Yeah.
on who you are And so you can show up better,
Yeah.
not just for your family, not just for your career, but for yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely. When you are at a place where you're like, okay, I want to do X, right? Like I've journaled, I've taken my hiker walk, I've like thought about all
Mhm.
these things, and I am ready to commit to whatever thing it is. I think then it's also looking at like, well, what does your life look like? Maybe
Yeah.
you have kids, maybe you have multiple jobs, maybe you have
Mhm.
plenty of time. Thinking about how you're going to execute that and
Mhm.
how it's gonna fit within your lifestyle. And we talked about this before. It's like, it's great if you wanna commit to a marathon, awesome, like,
Yeah.
but how are you gonna get it done? Like, and maybe now's not the time.
Yeah. And instead of, a marathon's a great goal. It's a
Mhm,
life-changing goal. But, sometimes just deciding 2 or 3 days a week, I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna run,
mhm.
and being consistent about it and making it a habit, that can be just as enriching as doing all the planning and all the training for a marathon,
Yeah,
right? And and doing it like that is much more achievable and sustainable
yeah,
than doing the part-time job of training for a marathon, because it is.
it is. It
Right.
really is.
It's
And, it's I mean, it's such a commitment, and even, like, if we go back to the original thing of, like, I wanna get healthier, that's a huge
Yeah.
commitment. Like, that's
Yeah.
huge.
It's
Not
huge. And when you say healthy, what do you mean?
correct. Yeah,
It's just that is this huge, broad, all-encompassing thing. Do
yeah,
you mean, do I wanna go for walks more? Do I wanna spend more time with my family?
yeah,
Decide on what healthy looks like for you.
yeah.
Then you can decide the steps that you wanna take to get to that healthiest version of you.
Yeah. And I made a note before this that resolutions should clarify,
Yeah.
not correct. And I think it's
Yes.
so much about like instead of thinking about correction or there's something that you have to quote unquote fix,
Mhm.
maybe thinking in terms of expansion.
Yeah.
Like and I think that that's a when we've talked about mindset, that's a different way of thinking about it. I think our culture and I've only lived in the United States, so I can only speak to that. But I think our culture and the economy in many ways is built on something's wrong with you and you have to fix it
Yeah.
and fear.
Mhm.
And I'm a huge believer in rewrite that story for yourself. Like you said,
Yes.
I love living in the future.
Mhm.
I can make up a million scenarios about whatever. And I have to
Uh-huh.
remind myself, and I do that actually through journaling, but like bring yourself back to this moment right now.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah, because this is the only moment you've got,
yep.
so make the most of this particular moment. And I'm very interested and intrigued by endurance sports and ultra endurance sports, and I can't remember which of the 2 Ironman legends said this. It was either Mark, oh god, I mean, I've forgotten their names, unfortunately, but one of them said he has a mantra when he was trying getting through these races, and he would say to himself, "Do what you can in this moment."
Mhm.
And in in our quest has to come back to doing what you can in this moment.
And I think the other piece of this, and I'm curious about how you personally and you with clients deal with this. I am personally motivated by a deadline
Yep.
because I like being able to work backwards
Mhm.
and having flexibility within there. But if I'm not hitting certain milestones, I want to understand why.
Mhm.
And I tend to think in 28-day cycles and 3-month cycles. As we're talking about making not that your goals are smaller, but they're more bite-sized, and what can you do in this moment right now? Like,
Yes.
how do you deal with the timeline factor, right? Like, in some ways, some goals might be completely arbitrary in terms of a
Yep.
timeline. Other
Yep.
goals might be very deadline
Mhm.
oriented. So, like,
Yeah.
how do you approach that?
I mean, I've got some PTSD from my days as a journalist and dealing with deadlines on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And so I do tend to be deadline oriented, and there are going to be times when the deadline has to move.
Mhm.
Life gets in the way, and you can't be so brittle that if the deadline moves or deadline's extended, you can't be so brittle that you freak out.
Yeah.
It's like, again, get grounded, get centered, and say, okay, I can figure out ways to make this happen. And if I need to, bring in people to help me with this deadline, because I do have a tendency to try to want to work solo.
Mhm.
But again, over the past couple of years, I've learned that I can move faster and better when I'm working with others.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get out of my own bubble, as it
Mhm.
were. But I think part of it also goes back to a little bit of curiosity. That's something that I want to make sure I instill in myself and the people I work with, is to be curious.
Curious. Yeah. Yeah.
Just ask the question.
Yeah.
And just, as a friend of mine would always say, just go 1 inch over the line.
Oh,
You'll
I like
find
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the other piece too, like there are set deadlines, right? For certain things. And I think many times I just said motivation isn't actually going to get you there. But when you have guideposts, it is helpful, right?
Mhm.
If we take my initial example that I just threw on you unexpectedly, like, why do I need the book to be done in a year? Like, I don't know how long it's going to take me. I have no clue. So when you can start breaking things down of what you said of like, okay, can you commit to, it could be one sentence a day. And I know that sounds silly, but
Mhm.
like, okay, you know what? I can commit to 30 minutes of writing a day. And that might
Right.
be one sentence. It might be a
Right.
whole paragraph.
Mhm.
And then we get into the idea of, okay, we're making these goals and checkpoints or whatever you feel good calling them
Mhm.
a little closer, a little bit more bite size.
Mhm.
Then it comes into the accountability of, okay, let me do this for what's the right amount of time, which I think only you can kind of know for yourself.
Mhm.
But like, how do I keep myself honest with this? Right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yes.
how do I make accountability almost enjoyable? How do I make accountability work for me? So maybe we're working together and I say that and you're like, Megan, your goal, we can agree on this goal that for the next 30 days, you're going to write for 30 minutes a day. Can you do that? Yes. Like, then
Yeah,
it's not, oh my God, I got to get this book done by the end of the year.
exactly. Because when writing a book, we all feel like we want to write the great American novel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it's just write the best book that you can right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what I'm about to say works in a crisis or a non-crisis situation. It's do the next right thing.
Mhm.
If if the next right thing for you, when as you're writing this book, is to write 2 pages, that's what you do. If the next right thing for you to do is walk away from the desk and go for a walk, that's what you do.
Mhm.
And I think there's, again, these clocks and deadlines are sometimes external
Yeah.
and not internal
Yeah.
and not driven by us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And I think also, like you said, and you've used this word so many times and I love it. And that's the word brittle. And I don't think we use that word enough in our
Mm,
lexicon, but it is so true. Like when things are brittle, they break.
they do.
And when you can bring in community around you, whatever that looks like, it
Mhm.
starts to make it more enjoyable. You have that support system and it allows you, and you talked about this, it allows you to have a viewpoint of so many more options than maybe what you came up with,
Absolutely.
I think is
Absolutely.
huge.
It is really important to be around people when you're doing these things. And
Mhm.
also very helpful to be around people who are just a little bit ahead of you,
Yes.
because they may have answers to things that you've got questions on. And again, going back to curiosity, you're in a space where you can ask those questions
Yeah.
and not be shamed
Yes.
by a question.
Yeah,
I have
absolutely. And I'm just taking some notes on what we're talking about.
sure.
And I think that if we are now like back to the beginning of the conversation, right? So someone is thinking, I want to set some New Year's resolutions. It's that time of year. I'm
You
totally motivated right now. It seems like first and foremost, go
yeah,
for it and write down the resolutions, right?
yeah,
Like go ahead and write all of them down, write them down. And then I think what we're saying is the next step is pause and ask why.
yes, yes.
So if someone is making a list of, let's say they have 5 to 10
Mhm.
resolutions, just sitting for a few days, maybe take that first week or two of January and stop and think, well, why do I want to do this?
Right.
Reflect on it a little bit,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
I think that piece that we were discussing about like external versus internal, really dig into that a little bit. And some stuff, by the way, is not going to be that deep. Go forth and achieve your goal. Right? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, make it happen.
yeah, make it happen. But especially if this is a goal that maybe it's like year 3 or 4 that you've set, and this is going to be the year, like spend a little bit more time with that goal, right? What's going on here? Why do you want to do it?
And that's a great question to ask. What's going on here?
Yeah, yeah, and so taking that time to spend time with it, you are clarifying, not correcting, so putting that in mind, like, nothing's wrong with you, like,
No,
we're
absolutely.
yeah,
Like as you said, we don't need to be fixed,
no,
not broken.
yeah, yeah, and so now we have our goals, we have our why, we've spent some time behind it, and instead of saying, "I'm gonna achieve this by this time," making a more bite size, okay, for the next
Yeah.
week, for the next 30 days, I'm gonna do the next best thing, and that
Mhm.
means
Yeah.
X,
Yeah.
Y, Z,
Yeah.
and bringing your whole self to that table, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
All the parts of yourself to the table.
yeah, and I do think it's important to write it down. I think it's important to put it on your calendar. If it's on
Mhm.
your calendar, it will happen. So bringing your whole self and understanding how that goal fits into your larger life. And then as you take those smaller steps and you have that next best thing, then taking the time to reflect on it. Like, what have I learned in this process?
Absolutely.
What do
Taking
I,
all the learnings that you've been, getting, all the mistakes you've made
yeah,
along the way,
totally.
taking all of that in, that's information, that's data you can use to keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, who else do I need to bring in this conversation?
Yeah.
After whatever period of time it is, right?
Mhm.
And then the last thing seems to be the accountability piece. After you do that reflection, after you've seen all of this, okay, how are you going to either continue what's working or make changes for things that aren't working and set that time aside for the next reflection and that
Yep.
accountability?
And the next
Um,
step. Yeah.
yeah, that's sort of a good step by step of how to get people started and the next immediate. I think all of us have been here where we're doing really well for like a couple months, and then for
Mm.
whatever reason, we fall off, right?
Yeah.
I think it's certainly situational,
Mhm.
but I think it goes back to the arbitrariness of time. Okay, so
Yeah.
you fell off, but you're not actually starting over. You're
Mhm.
just starting from a break.
You're starting from a break. The first thing, don't beat yourself up. And what you're going through is a very human response.
Mhm,
So always keep that in mind. And also something else as well, in that you're doing something different and you're becoming a different version of yourself. And that can feel, at the very least, a little weird and a little discomforting
mhm,
because your old self, is sort of looking at this new self and going, hey, wait, what's going on here?
mhm.
And that could be part of that as well. Again, it's part of being human. No need to beat yourself up over that.
Yeah,
And taking breaks every so often is not a bad thing. So allow yourself the time to rest and recharge and get back to it for the next few weeks
Yeah.
that you've got in front of you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think the other thing we haven't talked about
Mhm.
is build in celebration time,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. You spent a lot of time, blood, sweat, and tears to make it happen, to make it a reality. Celebrate what you've done.
Mm,
Okay.
yep.
It's an accomplishment. It's an achievement. Take the time to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
You've done something a lot of people have thought about, but
Yeah.
haven't actually done.
And it's something you haven't done.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
if we're talking about January, because it's on everybody's mind, right? If we're talking January and you get to July and you have been
Yeah,
consistent, maybe you're not as far along as you are. Don't beat yourself up on it.
yeah,
You are 6 months beyond what the January version of yourself was, right?
absolutely.
And I think that so often, and I know everybody beats up on social media, but it is a different world where we see end results and we didn't see the 10 years it took to get there. Our sense of time and understanding of time, I think it's all thrown off. So again, that external validation,
Yeah,
we have to be careful with that. Like,
absolutely.
and what we think it should take. Like,
Mhm. Right. Comparison is the thief of joy,
bingo. Yep.
and you can't compare your beginning to somebody else's middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so celebrate where you are at this particular moment
Yeah.
and be proud of what you've done.
Yeah.
Be proud of what you've accomplished.
Yeah.
And if and when you're ready to get back to it, get back to it. But take the time to look back and say, wow, I
Mhm.
did this.
Okay. So people are thinking about resolutions. First of all, Richard and I, not that you need it, we give you permission to start January 1st or March 1st or June 17th.
It's
It's
right
up
when
to
you're
you.
ready. Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
ready,
Yeah.
write down all the dreams, write down all the goals, and then sit with them.
Mhm. It's and that just the act of writing all that down
Mhm.
can really get the juices flowing.
Yeah.
Just that act by itself. Skip the gym membership and get the journal.
But I love that. Perfect. And then after you sat with it, understood your why behind it, is this just for fun? Is this something that I want to do career wise, or is this a big shift in my life? Ultimately, it should be about you. It should not be these external factors or influences in your life. And then spend some time on adjusting those goals,
Mhm.
spend some time on building out smaller bite-sized ways that you're going to get to goals.
Absolutely.
Have that accountability that works for you, and what works for you at the beginning of the goal may not work for you at the end of the goal. So
Be flexible.
flexible,
Be
no
flexible.
brittleness
Yeah.
there. Take time to reflect and take time to celebrate. I think that's, in
Yeah.
a nutshell, for how resolutions actually go from the journal that you bought to
Mhm.
actually happening and occurring in your life.
To reality.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anything we missed? Anything else?
I There's one thing,
Yeah.
and that's maybe instead of a New Year's resolution, how about a New Year's mantra?
Ooh.
Maybe it's that, Iron Man mantra, "Do what you can in this moment." Find the mantra that works for you and let that carry you through the year, and write it down somewhere. If you need to put it on a Post-it on your bathroom mirror or your
Yep.
kitchen or your refrigerator, do it
Yeah. Yeah.
somewhere you can see it.
I'm looking up right now because I have lots of them around and I like looking at them. And one of them is if you do what is right, the best will happen. Like I
Yeah.
love that. So when
Mhm.
I'm stuck,
It's
it's like
great.
just do what you know to be right in this moment. I've talked about this on TikTok. I made one recently,
Mhm.
let go or be dragged. Like sometimes I have to just
I saw you post, I was like, "Ooh,
that
that's
one.
a good one."
I don't know where I heard that. I think I read it somewhere and I use it all the time. I love a mantra for whether it's the year or the next couple months, like What is that gonna be
Mhm.
for you? I think the other piece too is allow for change. I think
Yes.
so many times
Mm.
we feel like we have to hold on to this identity or whatever it is.
Yes.
It's okay to change.
It's okay to change. I get the idea of hanging on to it because it's safe,
Yeah,
but is it really safe? Or do you just not want to do it? Or are you scared to do it? If you're
yeah,
scared, talk to somebody.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just pick up the phone, give your best friend a call.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that the other piece about change is, like, I think there is, and it's like everything in life, there's a balance. There is something beautiful about steadfastness. There's something beautiful about certain traditions
Mhm.
and not changing, but the reality is life, look at seasons. Life is built for change. Life is built for evolution, and to be able to embrace that is a really powerful thing.
Mhm. I mean, we're all of nature, and nature changes, and we can change too.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's a mantra right there.
Yeah. Mm.
I love it. You just did it, Richard.
Just right there,
Right
right
there.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Awesome. Well, this has been a great conversation. I hope people, either decide that they don't wanna do resolutions based on this
It's
conversation, or if you really like doing New Year's resolutions, like I said, I like to, but my New Year starts in March, that you have a little bit more of a sense of how you're going to do them, how you're gonna make it more achievable, how you're gonna make it more fun, more
Mhm.
joyous, be a
Yes.
little less brittle, a little more flexible,
Mhm.
and just enjoy the process as you're going along. I think that's a huge
Absolutely.
part of it.
That's a big part of it. Just enjoy the journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Good. Well, happy New Year, Richard.
Happy New Year, Megan.
Thank you.